and thanks for tuning into FactSphere. As the new WWE World Champion, Jinder Mahal is the name on every WWE fan's lips. The former 3MB member has ascended to heights we never thought possible, and it looks as though his push is set to continue into the near future. When he first returned just after the WWE draft last year, many thought the 30-year-old was back just to fill the numbers in the jobbers department. Instead, he became the #1 contender for the most prestigious prize in sports entertainment. Seeing as his career has taken a strange and exciting turn, it's time to delve further into the life and career of Jinder Mahal. He may look clear-cut as a character, but there's a lot we still don't know about the Prince of Punjab. Here are 10 facts you didn't know about Jinder Mahal. Number 10, he's from Canada. Despite his Indian heritage and vocal Indian-styled character on television, Jinder Mahal identifies as a fully-blooded Canadian. Mahal's family migrated to Canada from India in the 1960s, and they are of Punjabi Sikh descent. The 30-year-old was born in Calgary, Alberta, Canada in 1986. Jinder also learned how to wrestle in Alberta at the premier martial arts wrestling school in Calgary. Despite a strong Canadian affiliation, the WWE billed Jinder from Punjab, India. Perhaps this is Vince McMahon's way of pushing the WWE to a more international audience. Fun fact, Jinder Mahal's move to SmackDown means there are now 9 SD-Live superstars who are from Canada. Takeover or what? Number 9, he has a degree in business. Coming from a wealthy and middle-class background, Jinder Mahal was taught to never rest on his laurels. After initially entering the wrestling world, Jinder went back to university to give himself an insurance plan. He needed the qualification to ensure that if wrestling failed, which it nearly did, he'd have something to fall back on. Jinder Mahal enrolled at the University of Calgary and obtained a business degree in communications and culture. This is the same university that former Canadian Prime Minister Steve Harper attended before taking office. The interesting part about this story is that Mahal was wrestling while in school, and as soon as he graduated, he went on the road again. Number 8, his uncle is Gama Singh. In wrestling, we all know that a famous lineage helps boost the credibility of a wrestler. Jinder Mahal's uncle is the well-renowned Gadawar Singh Sahota, better known as Gama Singh. Of course, a lot of today's fan base won't remember who he is, but the guy has a pedigree, and his run in wrestling was particularly memorable. Like Jinder, Gama Singh was a hated heel who even drew heat from fans outside of arenas. In the 1980s he was one of the most loathed heels in the WWF, fast forward a few decades, and his nephew is one of the most hated heels in wrestling. Funnily enough, Gama's son tried out for the WWE at the same time as Jinder, however, it was only his nephew who made the cut. Number 7, his Punjabi language skills got him signed. Professional wrestling is an extremely strange profession. It seems to be one where if you are of a particular ethnicity, there is only so far the industry will allow you to go. For a long time, stereotypes and anti-stereotypes were the two gimmick options available. This is once you are signed, however, as ethnicity can also be a positive when looking to get to that point. Jinder Mahal has made no secret of this in the past, but he feels that a large part of his getting signed was because of his Punjab family background and his ability to speak Punjabi. Mahal tells the story that the Great Khali's contract was running down, and at that point WWE were considering a tour to India. An Indian superstar was a must if it was to happen, so when Mahal attended an open tryout in Florida he was signed on the spot. Number 6, Jinder was trained by Bad News Brown. When he was just 15 years old, Jinder approached his uncle, Gama Singh, and told him that he wanted to be a wrestler. Not fazed by the remark at all, Gama immediately gave Jinder an address and told him that was the place he needed to go to follow his dreams. The head trainer at this address? None other than former WWE superstar and Olympic bronze medalist, Bad News Brown. It was a strange limbo-esque time to be an aspiring pro wrestler in Canada. The famous Hart Dungeon had closed, and Lance Storm was yet to open his famous wrestling school. As a result, young would-be wrestlers were left to train off word of mouth from former professionals who were doing it for love as opposed to money. Along with Brown, Mahal was trained by none other than Rick Bogner, better known to the world as Fake Razor Ramon. What a truly strange combination of trainers. Number 5, Jinder thought Dean Ambrose would be in 3MB. After a short and one-sided feud with Ryback, Jinder Mahal found himself spinning his wheel somewhat on Superstars and Main Event, doing a whole lot of nothing. He then spent more time in the newly rebranded NXT, and actually lost in the final of the tournament held to crown the inaugural NXT champion, coming up short against Seth Rollins. It was around the time of a TV taping in September 2012 that things changed. Mahal was told by Heath Slater that the one-man band would be expanding, and that the plan was to add 2 members to Slater's entourage. Mahal jokingly said he should be in it, but the general consensus and assumption was that the group would consist of Slater, Dean Ambrose, and Johnny Curtis. Mahal then looked at the TV taping sheet to see if he was being used, only to find out he had a run-in on Heath Slater's match with Brodus Clay. 3MB was born. How different would the landscape of WWE be today if 3MB had included the current Dean and Fandango? Number 4. Jinder's lost to El Torito in the last match of his previous run. Jinder Mahal was released by World Wrestling Entertainment in 2014, and it came as something of a surprise to him, mostly because 3MB had been used frequently on WWE programming over the previous few months. This had been mostly in comedy matches against Los Matadors and El Torito, but used they were. To put the absurdity of Mahal's title win into context, it's worth noting that his last match before his 2014 release came against Torito in an episode of SmackDown. It was as throwaway as it gets, with Michael Cole and JBL spending most of it discussing Torito's tale on commentary. El Torito won in just over a minute with a moonsault, way funnier than a bullsault, that pretty much entirely missed Mahal. And now he's WWE Champion. What a comeback. Number 3. Mason Ryan helped him out after his release. When wrestlers are released from World Wrestling Entertainment, they tend to go one of 3 ways. Those with experience on the independent scene before their time in WWE may well head back there, renewing contact with past bookers and promotions. Some leave the sport altogether, feeling that once the WWE dream is over there's not much else to achieve. Some with little indie experience find themselves moving into the scene post-WWE however, and Jinder Mahal was one of these. He was a little lost to begin with, and as such had to reach out to those who had experienced similar things after being released. Step forward Mason Ryan. It was Ryan who Mahal spoke to first after his release, and the big Welshman told him to set up an email and various social media things immediately. To Mahal's surprise, the bookings began rolling in almost instantly. Number 2. He failed his first WWE tryout against the Hart Dynasty. In life, many of these motivational talkers always tell you that if at first, you don't succeed, try again. This is exactly what Jinder Mahal did, and he succeeded. In one of the few times that WWE crossed the border to hold tryouts in Canada, Jinder Mahal ensured he made his presence known. In his first tryout for the company, Mahal was made to wrestle 3 straight matches. The first was against the infamous Eugene. The 30-year-old recalls that he was completely out of breath by the time the 3rd match came around. Funnily enough, the 3rd match was against current WWE superstar, Tyler Breeze. Apparently, Mahal was told to call the match, and he automatically assumed that the agents wanted to focus on Breeze's selling. He was wrong. The agents were actually looking at Jinder's offense, and because he was demoralized by the focus of the match, he didn't put effort into it, leading to that being an unsuccessful first tryout for the WWE World Champion. Number 1. He didn't wrestle in India until 2016. Despite being signed with a tour to India in mind and being pushed immediately on the basis of his Indian ethnicity, it wasn't until 2016 that Jinder Mahal finally got the opportunity to wrestle in the world's 2nd most populous country. India is wrestling mad however, and men such as Mahal and the Great Khali are huge stars in the industry back home. Mahal wrestled for Khali's Continental Wrestling Entertainment promotion in India in 2016 on a number of shows, the largest of which Mahal claimed happened in front of over 60,000 people. Now he's WWE's top guy. He's almost certain to spearhead any future You're the Company plans in India.